This is Jared Parry for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. Delighted to be joined by Dave Coldwell here in Leicester. One fighter on the card you manage, Paige Murney. Yeah. Great performance, 2-0, an absolute masterclass, really.
Yeah, I'm over the moon for her. She is the secret of UK women's boxing, and soon the secret will get let out. You know, she's just boxed a girl in a second fight. She's just boxed a girl that's boxed at world level, boxed world champions, got a winning record, 14 wins. A very, very experienced, good fighter. And also, she came in half a stone heavier than Paige as well, and basically said, "Well, what are you going to do?" So Paige had that to deal with on the second fight as well. Her attitude was unbelievable. She said, "Well, it don't make any difference. I was just going to smash her up anyway." And she proceeded to go out there and do that. The one thing that I like about Paige, and I think what people that don't know about her, you know, I say she's a secret, she is. But as people get to see her, what they're going to like about her is the fact that she don't go in there to win on points. She goes in there to let her hands go, and she's a bit vicious, and she's looking to take people out. So it's an exciting addition, and you know it's good to see her back.
Absolutely, without me trying to sound biased as well. She got the exposure tonight. Obviously, it was on Fight TV Plus, but it was also live on Boxing Social's website. So that is probably massive for people young in their careers looking to build on. And like you said, she could be the best kept secret.
Listen, this is when Boxing Social, I found out that they're getting into this. You know, streaming shows, putting shows together, promoting shows, all that. That's exciting because we know Boxing Social as a news outlet for a sport. I wish, for years they've been right at the top. So this is what they're going into. This is what girls, boys, people that are getting into boxing, prospects, anybody that wants to get to the top, they need exposure. And it's not just that. I've come in here and I'll be honest with you, I don't know what I expected, but I expected to be like a little show. Turn up here, place is bouncing, production's wicked, lighting, everything, production values are wicked. I used to promote, so I understand about the production values, and I always look at things like that. Doing a great job. So it's her second fight, the first fight in her hometown, and first big fight in her hometown, and she's walking out as though it's like a big show. And that gives the fighters a buzz, So yeah, it's ideal for them.
Yeah, I really appreciate the kind words on that. Obviously, I think they're here to stay. They're going really well. But I want to move on then to a bit of the wider world of boxing at the minute. First off, one of your fighters, Hopey Price, got announced yesterday. Very good fight with James Beech Jr. James Beech is obviously coming off a loss to Nathaniel Collins, which is nothing to be ashamed about. And then Hopey Price is going straight in there. He's just gone from level to level to level. And is this where we see the best Hopey Price? Yeah,
people that are trying to win. That's where when you're going to see the best of Hopey, and that's why I picked his opponent. Eddie's a great promoter, and he's been great with Hopey, but every fight is like, Dave, he needs to be let off leash. I'm bumping heads, and so we've agreed this deal. We've signed another deal with Matchroom, but I've got this year as a development year. Next year, we'll let him off the leash. This year, it's about getting the fights in where he's going to learn from and develop. So we're ready for, because he's 10 fights in now. If you look at his record, he's been fighting good fighters. But now I want him to fight those that have either been there and just on the slide, names that are just on the slide, or been there and mixed at top level. I want him to fight opponents that are going to give him something experience-wise, but still coming to win. But the experience that is in there is having to figure out different problems, people hitting him back and just having to adapt. I need him to have those fights before I said, there you go, I'll figure it out, because the kid's special. He's very, very good, like an outstanding prospect, but an outstanding mentality as well. So in Beech, he's a perfect opponent, because he's just coming off a Nathaniel Collins, who's just fought for British and Commonwealth titles at featherweight. Hope is now stepping up to featherweight. Not messing about with a little late round against somebody, straight in against Nathaniel Collins, against Beech, who's been in with Collins. So it's a good measuring stick for him to go, right, okay, this is what I need to do to get, before I'm fighting for that title. So we're going straight in.
You say, yeah, that's an exciting one. Another one of your fighters got a fight booked in, Muhammad Ali. Very good debut, really, in Newcastle back in March. And now he's back out, is it June the 10th, if I'm right? Exciting journey ahead as well?
Yeah, do you know what? He's he's a really nice kid, and you know he's got no ego, but he's got plenty of flash. It's a bit of a difference. When you've got ego and flash, sometimes it can be a little bit too much. But when he's in the ring, he's got plenty of flash about him, and he exudes confidence. Out of the ring and working with and understanding, what he needs to work on. There's none of that. So he's very, very good to work with. Impressive debut. Never went to his head. He was back in gym 2 days later. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting journey with him.
Going to talk now about fighters you manage. Leigh Wood coming up.
Don't manage Leigh Wood anymore.
Oh, do you not?
No,
sorry.
Conlan was the last one. Still good friends.
Do apologise.
Yeah.
Well, just to talk on Leigh Wood then, massive fight coming up. Lara Wood too.
Huge, can't wait for it. The first one was a brilliant fight, and I thought I was so good from it. It was such a good performance at that level, at that top level. It keeps getting better as he's getting older. Ben Davison's done an amazing job, and you can see him just developing as a fighter. And it was 99% perfect in that fight, and the 1%, caught him out and cost him the fight. He's got to be perfect this time. I actually expect Lara to be a better version this time, because I think Lara was more thoughtful in that first fight than I expect him to, than I've ever seen him to be, because he's usually a bit more reckless, a little bit more wild. But I think maybe Leigh caught him early doors, and he thought, this kid's got heavy hands, I've got to be a little bit clever. But I do think that this time round, I think he'll be a bit more aggressive, a lot more early, and look to let his hands go a little bit more. So Leigh's got to get it right, 100%. He's got to get it right.
I was going to say he's a fantastic fighter. Obviously, when he went on to Ben Davison, British title, world title, big defence over Conlan, probably one of the best fights. Yeah. Well, it was the fight of the year, probably one of the best fights I've personally seen. Now he went in then with Lara, which was, some people classed it as crazy, really. First voluntary defence against a man who's just taken out, well, he took out Josh Warrington not long before. And then it was a punch from the gods, wasn't it?
No. I don't like when people say it's a punch from gods, it's like it's a fluke. It wasn't a fluke. Lara was looking for that all day long, all night long. And one thing I always try and say to my fighters is, don't hook with a hooker. And Lara's a very good left hooker, and he traded with him. His hand position was just wrong, and he got caught. But it's not just something from our gods. It's a good fight when they were both landing good shots. But Leigh was he did look like he was in control. But this is what makes boxing so great, because you can be watching a fight and it can be looking like it's going one way, or you think, oh, this man's got it under control now. The tide's turns back again, one shot.
On the other side of the coin, obviously you mentioned Conlan. He's got a massive fight the same night, Bernardo Lopez.
Yeah.
Could we potentially see Leigh Wood versus Mick Conlan too, and it could be a unification bout?
Why not? I mean, that's how the fight could happen if it's a unification. If Leigh's got something to gain from it, he's in a fortunate position now where financially it's not, I don't have to take this fight because I need the money. Them days have gone. But it's like, do I fancy having a couple of belts here? Am I on my way to be unified? Is that, So it could happen, and I expect Conlan to win the world title that night. It's just a shame they're both on the same night, and it's strange having certainly locally as such, it's two British fighters. I don't know if Conlan's not British, is he? He's Irish, but listen, we Irish fans are always over here. We love Irish fighters. It is what it is. So it's kind of like one of us. He trains over here. So to have two of them fighting for a world title on the same night, I'd like, if Leigh wasn't boxing, I'd like to be watching Conlan's fight. I'm a big fan of Conlan. Obviously working with Adam Booth, so I just think both of them are going to win on the night, hopefully.
I've got to ask you, situation's gone on since October, the Conor Benn situation. He's now started coming out doing some interviews. Like I said, he was out on Guadalajara last week. Eddie Hearn hinted at potentially Eddie Hearn said there's more than 50% chance of him fighting on the Liam Parry versus Regis Prograis card in New Orleans on June the 17th. What's your thoughts on his comeback while this whole U-card situation is still going on?
Makes no difference what I think anymore, is it? Well, any of us thinks anymore. It's going to happen what's going to happen, but it's nice that his interviews have he regrets the way that he went at it. And at the end of the day, you can only. I always say, sometimes things happen in life that it's how you react that gets you more shit than the stuff that you've done. And I think, although failing 2 tests is a big thing, we've seen before when people have failed tests and kind of like just took whatever's coming, got on with it, still declared their innocence and whatever, not a problem, but they kind of took it and presented their case and whatever. I know there's always going to be a portion that are like, but in time the career resumes and they get on with it. I just feel that the way that he reacted straight away, I was like, it's not how he reacts. But he's come out and he said if he could turn back time, he would do that. And we've all reacted in certain ways to certain situations in the wrong manner, So can you really just vilify him for that? I would rather just say, sort your shit out. Let's see what your evidence is, and let the investigation unfold, and let them, clear you if that's the case. If there has been some sort of, it'd have to be corruption, really. If you're saying if the WBC are making an excuse and because to cover up for irregularities in testing, so let's see what all unveils, and then go on from there. But I still can't accept the whole carrying on career, just hopping over on a plane somewhere else and carrying on when you've been suspended, or is he still suspended? I don't even know what's happening anymore. But when you've suspended, when you haven't, been cleared of failing tests, just carrying on with your career as though you have never failed them tests. I don't like that. I don't like that. And that, no matter, I've got fighters with headache, I get on with headache, not a problem. This is people disagree on things. I disagree on that. You can't get me. And I like Conor Benn. I've always liked Conor Benn. I've always been a fan of Conor Benn. But you can't get me to agree to say that I think that's right. But ultimately, does it matter if I think it's right? No. I don't. I have a choice. Then, will I watch his fight or not? And everybody's got that choice. So, will you watch him at 3:00 in the morning or what time he's on that? That's the question.
Another situation in boxing, but this one was this week, and it's a bit of a negative one again, the Fabio Wardley, Frazer Clarke situation. Obviously, comes out, boxer was pulled Frazer out of the base bid for the fight after, the board say that he'd requested, someone in his team, they didn't say which one.
All about communication. Everything's about communication in life. It makes things a lot easier, a lot harder. And it just seems like promoter and management haven't been speaking. Management and fighter want the fight. No, because then Ben Shalom said how they've offered him the fight before and for money and stuff. So the promoter must have wanted the fight at some point. It's probably just boiled down to money and not wanting somebody to box on somebody else's show. Probably, in all honesty, but that's their business. That's what they've got to work for the best at what they're trying to do and what their plan is. But I think it's disappointing from a fan's point of view. It's disappointing from a Frazer Clarke point of view, Fabio Wardley point of view. Frazer's getting a lot of shit that I don't think he deserves because he'd fight anybody. I've known Frazer years, when he was just working on security for all the shows. I've known him for years. He'll have it with anybody, but it's sometimes people make the wrong decisions, but then when they try and explain themselves, they make themselves look even worse. And I think that's what Ben Shalom's done a little bit.
Stick with the heavyweight division. A big rumour, December, Saudi Arabia, Wilder, Joshua, Fury, Usyk, heavyweight tournament, one night, Saudi Arabia. Is it happening, do you reckon?
Well, I would say there's more chance of it not happening than it happening. It's very, very difficult to make one super fight in the heavyweight division. To make two on the same night, mate, the only thing that I would say is that the people behind it have got some serious money. And sometimes in life, money talks. Do I think it'll happen? Probably not. Would I love it to happen? 100%. Will I get excited about it right now? No. If it gets signed, it'll be the best thing ever.
I'm going to talk about a fight that is happening now, finally. Next week, Dublin, Katie Taylor, Chantelle Cameron. Is this one of the biggest fights in women's boxing history?
I would say it's got to be right up there, hasn't it? I think Katie against Serrano and Savannah against Clarissa, I think them two stand above it, to be fair. But it's huge. It is huge, and the fact that it's back in Dublin for Kate, I think it just makes it even bigger. And it's something that she deserves. She has an amazing career. She's been a great ambassador for sport. Forget about the women's game, but for the sport, she's been a great ambassador. She deserves a massive fight at home, and what a fight it is! Can't wait for it.
Just say when Serrano pulled out, they couldn't have literally picked the better opponent, in my opinion.
No, 100%. Fantastic opponent to pick. It's not an opponent, is it? It's a challenge. So yeah, what better fight? It's going to be brilliant. The atmosphere is going to be unbelievable. And Chantelle Cameron is an outstanding fighter. She's got a great training team as well in Jamie and Nige. It just adds up to such a great night and a great fight.
Can I push you for a prediction?
I don't know because I keep thinking about Katie's got a lot of miles on clock. She's this, blah blah blah. But I think she's the better boxer. So I would still lean towards Katie Taylor.
Brilliant. Dave, thank you so much for your time. All the best, mate, and obviously we'll catch up with you very soon.